Bianca's relentless pursuit of Arthur was a well-known spectacle, a whispered saga among our friends. 39 times her declarations of love had been met with his steadfast, almost cold refusal. Their history stretched back to childhood, a bond everyone assumed would culminate in romance. But Arthur's heart, it turned out, belonged to the one person no one expected. Me, Elara, the girlfriend of his deceased elder brother Ethan. Then came the day Bianca and I were both taken. Bound and helpless, we watched as Arthur, without a moment's hesitation, chose me. He sprinted towards me, his eyes blazing with a fierce protectiveness that stole my breath. Elara, he had vowed, his voice raw with emotion as he pulled me into a protective embrace. Even without Ethan's plea, I would love you as if my life depended on it. A chink in my carefully constructed emotional armor finally appeared. His unwavering gaze, the raw sincerity in his voice, slowly, tentatively began to melt the ice around my heart. 3 years later, after a courtship filled with boundless devotion and grand gestures, Arthur knelt before me. The engagement ring he presented shimmered under the city lights, accompanied by documents transferring billions in funds and properties from the prestigious Beaumont Group into my name. Elara, he murmured, his eyes alight with adoration. From this day forward, the Beaumont Group and I, we are both yours. The proposal, a spectacle of love and extravagance, was turned into a promotional video, broadcast on the towering central screens of the city for half a month. Everyone praised Arthur, the Beaumont heir, for his profound affection, and envied me for marrying into such a fairy tale romance. But then, just 2 weeks before our wedding, the fairy tale shattered. I saw it with my own eyes. At an exclusive industry gala, amidst the clinking of glasses and hushed conversations, I spotted them. Bianca's legs were wrapped around Arthur's waist, her silk dress hiked high as they passionately kissed, lost in a world of their own. Her breathless voice cut through the air, sharp and clear. Arthur, do you actually like your fiancé? Or do you just love my body more? Arthur chuckled, a low, intimate sound that sent shivers down my spine. His hand, the same hand that had so tenderly offered me a ring, slid beneath Bianca's dress. Of course I love you more. My hand, frozen midair, poised to push open the heavy oak door to the private antechamber, recoiled as if burned. I retreated, steps muffled by the plush carpet, as if nothing had happened. The scene seared itself into my mind, a toxic brand on my heart. 2 weeks later, on what should have been our wedding day, Arthur Beaumont, frantic and disbelieving, searched desperately for his missing bride. When Arthur returned home, I was in the study, practicing calligraphy. He shed his tailored jacket, a faint scent of expensive cologne trailing behind him, and approached with a steaming basket of crab roe soup dumplings. Darling, I brought you your favorite soup dumplings. Seeing my silence, he set down the basket and enveloped me from behind. Still practicing your characters, sweetheart? Without waiting for my reply, he picked up the inkstone, deftly preparing the ink. Since Ethan's death, calligraphy had become my sanctuary, a tranquil escape from chaotic thoughts. Arthur always smelled clean, fresh, of the very specific men's cologne I had bought for him. It masked the subtle, lingering scent of alcohol that I now knew was always present. Sensing my unusual quiet, he tightened his embrace, nuzzling my neck like a contented puppy. Darling, why so quiet today? Are you upset I wasn't with you? He nuzzled for a long moment until I sighed. Nothing. Just feeling a little off. Hungry, perhaps? He ruffled my hair affectionately, reaching for the dumplings. They're still warm just for you. Try one. The words caught in his throat. His gaze had fallen upon the framed photograph on my desk, and his entire body stiffened. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Elara, why is my brother's photo out again? His smile vanished, replaced by a frown of displeasure. I picked up the photo, my fingers tracing Ethan's face. A face so identical to Arthur's, yet now a stark reminder of a love lost. I found it while tidying up. Couldn't bear to keep it hidden away, so I put it on the desk. Arthur merely offered a non-committal, "Oh," then excused himself to the bathroom. In the 3 years we'd been together, his twin brother remained a forbidden topic, a landmine in our relationship. It was because Arthur had secretly harbored feelings for me even when I was Ethan's girlfriend. At social gatherings, he'd always refused to call me sister-in-law, insisting on Elara. Ethan, bless his kind heart, doted on Arthur. On Arthur's 20th birthday, Ethan had playfully asked him what kind of girlfriend he dreamed of. Under the dim candlelight, Arthur had looked at me with an intensity one couldn't quite decipher, then said, "I want a girlfriend as wonderful as Elara." Our friends had burst into laughter. Typical twins. Even your taste in women is identical. Arthur's got good taste. Elara's a stunner, super popular. If only Elara had a twin sister, then you brothers could each have one. A double happily ever after. Amidst the playful teasing, I remained silent. I felt Arthur's genuine affection for me, and though I was set to marry Ethan and become his sister-in-law, I deliberately kept my distance. But then disaster struck without warning. Late one night, Ethan, wanting to buy my favorite durian, was tragically killed in a car crash. The impact was brutal, throwing him from the vehicle. By the time we arrived, he was covered in blood, barely clinging to life. I sobbed, struggling to breathe, as Ethan weakly grasped my hand. With his last ounce of strength, he raised his other hand, covering my eyes. "Elara, don't look. It'll scare you. Remember me at my best." He called out to Arthur. "Brother, take care of Elara for me, promise me." The man who loved me most didn't live long enough for the ambulance. He died there on the asphalt in my arms. I fainted 3 times from grief watching a vibrant life reduced to a cold mound of earth. "Ethan, no one will ever love me like you did," I wailed, my heart shattering. Arthur stood silently behind me, his gaze fixed on my despair. The day he finally confessed his love, he looked at me with grave sincerity. "Elara, you're wrong. Apart from my brother, there's me. I will love you more than he did, with my very life." Now the image of Arthur and Bianca's passionate kiss at the gala replayed in my mind, making his words sound absurd and sickeningly hollow. The bathroom door opened, and the sound of running water ceased. Smiled sadly, stroking Ethan's smiling face in the photo. A single tear fell, landing on his bright, cheerful expression. "Ethan, I thought Arthur lied to me. There truly is no one who will love me like you did." Arthur was still in the shower when his phone, lying on the desk, suddenly rang. Fearing it might be urgent, I instinctively glanced at it, only to freeze. An unfamiliar profile picture and name appeared on the screen. Clearly Arthur's secondary account. It was a message from Bianca. "Arthur, transfer me money for the morning after pill. You hurt me so much at the gala tonight. You always play so rough, like you've never seen a woman before. Does your fiancé know?" I stared at the message, numb, unable to process it. They hadn't just kissed. They had gone further. At a public event. I tapped on the account. This secondary profile had only one contact, Bianca. It must have been created solely for their illicit communication. On his main account, I was his only pinned chat. He had never seemed to fear me. Checking his phone, even his lock screen password was my birthday. He would often toss his phone casually towards me. "Elara, other girlfriends check up on their boyfriends, why don't you check on me? Don't you love me?" He seemed to want me to check his phone even though most men tried to hide it. I wasn't one to pry and always refused. Since we're together, we should trust each other. Constant suspicion would only ruin things. But he wouldn't take no for an answer, insisting I check a few times. Each time it was spotless, nothing suspicious. Only then would he stop bothering me. Looking back, it must have been a feigned show, a deliberate test of my trust. Arthur emerged from the bathroom in his bathrobe. His phone was back where it belonged. "Someone messaged you earlier. You should check it in case it's urgent." I continued with my calligraphy, though my strokes were now visibly agitated. My hand trembled and I made several mistakes. "Oh really? I'll see." Arthur picked up his phone, his expression subtly shifting. He fumbled with it for a moment before setting it back down. "Nothing important. Just my company assistant, about a tomorrow's auction." He started to approach me for an embrace, but his eyes caught sight of the discarded soup dumplings in the trash bin, and his face darkened. "Elara, what's wrong? Did you not like the crab roe soup dumplings today?" "I don't like them anymore," I said, shaking my head. I met his gaze, my voice level, each word a quiet dagger. "I never liked crab roe soup dumplings." What I left unsaid was, "Arthur, I don't like you anymore either." Arthur visibly relaxed. "It's fine, Elara. If you don't like them, I'll go buy something else. What would you like tonight?" He looked at me with an eager, almost childlike hope, as if my rejection of the dumplings was a mere trifle. He still believed that because I had accepted his proposal, I was destined to marry him. But he was wrong. No need to bother. I'm a little tired. I finished the last character, a perfect flowing stroke. I set down the brush. I want to go to bed. No sooner had I settled into bed than Arthur, dressed in his pajamas, entered with a small box. Elara, even if you don't want these, I must entrust them to you. He placed the box on the nightstand. They say a man's heart is where his money is. I want you to know that both my money and my heart are yours. The box contained deeds to properties and assets worth billions from the Beaumont Group. I had demurred at the proposal, finding them too valuable, but now he offered them again. I nodded. Put them here. An hour later, my breathing evened out, and Arthur gently pulled me into an embrace from behind. Elara, are you asleep? When no reply came, his voice dropped to a quiet whisper. No. Seeing Ethan's photo today, you must have missed him again. He tightened his arms around me. But Elara, rest assured, I will love you more than Ethan ever did, I promise. I didn't sleep a wink. Once Arthur was deeply asleep, I, on an impulse I couldn't explain, rose and picked up his phone. His main account was logged in with my chat pinned. I switched to the secondary account. There, I saw the one-way transfer of $10,000 to Bianca, along with Arthur's curt reply. By the morning after pill next time. You know I don't like accidents, and I certainly don't want any accidents to bother Elara. I laughed, a hollow self-mocking sound, and returned the phone to its spot. Arthur left early the next morning. I spent the day alone in the villa's garden, lost in thought. As the sun set, I brewed a pot of tea. Through the rising steam, I dialed a number abroad. Mom, I've made up my mind. I'll move abroad and live with you. My voice was calm, resolute. I can tie up everything here within 2 weeks. Could you arrange the paperwork for me and help me get a new identity? My mother's voice, when she heard mine, was filled with surprise. Elara, what's with the sudden change of heart? Just a few days ago, you told me you were marrying young Arthur. I've seen the news reports. After Ethan's death, he's the Beaumont heir, and they say he loves you even more than his brother did. What happened? Mom, I interrupted, my voice firm. Please don't ask. We'll be over soon. As for marriage, I'm sure he'll find someone more suitable. After hanging up, a familiar scent enveloped me as strong arms embraced me from behind. Arthur's light cologne. Then his soft kisses on my neck. Darling, who were you talking to? What's someone suitable? I closed my eyes, subtly trying to shift away from his touch. Nothing. Why are you home so early today? Arthur smiled mysteriously, pulling a gift box from behind his back. Elara, guess what I got you? I had no interest in guessing. I was tired, weary to my bones. It's not a holiday, why a gift? Seeing me turn to leave, Arthur quickly pulled me back. Elara, have you forgotten? Tomorrow is our 3-year anniversary. His eyes shone with excitement. I went to an auction today and bought this necklace for you. He eagerly opened the box. A sapphire blue necklace rested elegantly inside, its enormous gemstone gleaming, clearly worth a fortune. I didn't care for flashy jewelry, nor did I often wear gemstones. Yet I recognized it immediately. It was a necklace Arthur had designed himself 5 years ago. He had spent hundreds of millions on its creation, vowing to give it to his future girlfriend. On the day I had agreed to marry Ethan, Arthur had gotten drunk and sold the necklace. Now, after so much effort, he had bought it back. Elara, I designed this necklace for you 5 years ago. It wasn't appropriate to give it to you then. But now I want to give it to my fiancé with my own hands. I forced a smile and accepted it. I've prepared a gift for you too, but you'll only get it tomorrow. Arthur chuckled, stroking my hair. Sweetheart, even if you don't give me anything, just being by my side makes me happy. After dinner, Arthur, showing off his sculpted abs, brought a basin of warm water and knelt to wash my feet. Elara, I've been busy with company matters these past few days. Tomorrow, I'll have time to go with you to pick out your wedding dress. No need, I said, cutting him off. Arthur smiled. All right, whatever you like. It's your only wedding after all. I completely respect your wishes, Elara. He embraced me from behind, deliberately rubbing his abs against my back. This was Arthur's usual prelude to intimacy. In the past, such playful flirting would have made me laugh. Now it just sickened me. My body stiffened. Arthur kissed my neck, his voice husky. Elara, do you want to? I pushed him away. I'm on my period. The desire in Arthur's eyes slowly faded. All right, then I'll just hold you while we sleep. But before he could lie down, his phone rang. He frowned, rejected the call, but it rang again almost immediately. Hello? Didn't I say not to call when I'm home? I won't allow anything to disturb Elara and me. His expression suddenly changed. All right, I'll be right there. Arthur changed out of his pajamas into a casual suit, his expression serious as he looked at me. Elara, something urgent has come up at the company. I need to go handle it now. You sleep first. I'll be back as soon as I'm done. He didn't see my headphones, nor the recording playback on my phone. Hearing his words, I looked up at him. Arthur, sensing my gaze, seemed to panic for a moment. He leaned down, kissing my cheek with a look of feigned remorse. Sweetheart, get some sleep. I'll rush back to you as soon as I'm done. I smiled. It's fine. Go. Arthur had no idea that the recording I had just heard was a phone conversation between him and Bianca, sent to me by Bianca herself. Attached was Bianca's taunting message. Did you hear that, Elara? He always tells you he's going to work late at the company, dealing with emergencies. But he's always coming to me. Don't think for a second that just because you're Arthur Beaumont's fiancé, he actually loves you. He just wants to take everything his brother had, including you. You just heard him, he lies so easily. Are you really going to marry a man like that? I didn't reply, but she kept sending messages one after another. I knew Bianca was Arthur's childhood sweetheart. They had grown up together, and she had always adored him. Before we started dating, she had confessed her feelings 39 times, and each time, Arthur had rejected her. He claimed he already had someone in his heart, and he wouldn't settle for anyone else. Later, when Bianca and I were kidnapped simultaneously, he unhesitatingly chose to run to me. His eyes bloodshot, he grabbed me and to evade our captors, jumped with me from a 3-story building. I heard his heart pounding against my chest, but his voice was astonishingly firm. Elara, I'll prove I love you more than Ethan did. We fell from the 3rd floor, expecting death or severe injury. Arthur had cushioned my fall. I was unharmed, but he broke his leg. Yet now the Arthur who had selflessly jumped from a building to save me seemed to have vanished. An hour later, Bianca deliberately video called me. Her phone, seemingly accidentally, focused on Arthur's face. The background was a blur of neon lights and a lively KTV. Amidst the deafening music, I heard the jeering voices of their friends. Arthur, you're something else. So many times with Bianca, and you never use protection. Your family's loaded, people might think you can't afford condoms. What do you guys know? Wildflowers are sweeter than garden flowers. Bianca's easygoing, adventurous, what's the big deal? She's not like Elara, pretending to be so pure. Honestly, Bianca's so devoted to you. How can you bear to make her take the morning after pill every time? She's a girl, show some compassion. Arthur nonchalantly lit a cigarette, a smirk playing on his lips, and waved Bianca closer. Bianca, tell them, were you willing? She's experienced, and there won't be any accidents. Bianca nodded, then skillfully settled onto Arthur's lap. Of course, no one loves Arthur more than I do. And I believe that soon enough, Arthur will love me too. And even if I accidentally get pregnant, Arthur wouldn't abandon me, right? Arthur's face instantly turned cold. I warned you. Don't play games with me. No accidents means no accidents. What happens between us must not reach Elara, or I will make you regret it. Bianca pouted, feigning hurt. I was just joking, why are you so fierce? If you keep this up, you won't touch me tonight. Arthur's expression softened. He stroked her hair, indulging her. Good girl, don't be temperamental. The next second, he cupped the back of Bianca's head and kissed her fiercely. Laughter erupted around them. I couldn't bear to listen anymore. My hands trembling, I ended the video call. For the next few days, I deliberately avoided Arthur, claiming I was going shopping or meeting friends. The day before the wedding, I gave Arthur a gift box, instructing him, don't open this until after the wedding. Arthur's face lit up with surprise. Okay, I'll do whatever Elara says. Tomorrow's our wedding day. His eyes shone with a profound, almost desperate joy. Elara, I feel like I'm dreaming. After all these years, I'm finally marrying you. I remained silent. Arthur, I thought, let these 3 years be nothing but a dream. I will not marry you. Arthur had arranged the wedding to be held at the ancestral estate. A long procession of cars arrived early to pick me up. He stood at the entrance dressed in a pristine white suit, nervously rubbing his hands. But the procession waited and waited. The bride never appeared. Arthur paused, then forced a smile. Elara, after today you'll be my wife. You're as nervous as I am, aren't you? He muttered to himself when suddenly the housekeeper, Mrs. Davies, rushed out, her face pale with panic. Mr. Beaumont, it's terrible. What is it, Mrs. Davies? What about Elara? Arthur's smile froze. Miss Elara. She's gone. How can that be? Arthur's face contorted in disbelief. He shoved Mrs. Davies aside and stormed into the villa like a madman. Elara! But he searched every room, every corner, and found no trace of me. The wedding dress, delivered to the villa the night before, hung untouched, pristine and mocking. The commotion drew the wedding guests outside. Whispers and murmurs erupted. What's going on? Did the bride run away? My God, she was supposed to marry the Beaumont heir. Is she crazy to throw away such an opportunity? If only such a blessing fell on me. Arthur is handsome, deeply devoted and wealthy. If the bride won't marry him, I will. Arthur, meanwhile, seemed to have lost his mind. He pulled out his phone, dialing my number repeatedly, but each time the call failed, a recorded voice stating my phone was off. Only Bianca, hiding nearby, watching the chaos unfold, couldn't suppress a triumphant smile. But when she emerged, her face was a picture of innocent concern. Arthur, I told you long ago that Elara doesn't truly love you. Her heart only ever belonged to your brother, Ethan. She rushed to his side, her voice laced with false sympathy. See? She's just been toying with your feelings. If she didn't love you, didn't want to marry you, why would she have agreed to your proposal in the first place? Believe me, no one in this world loves you more than I do. If she won't marry you, I will. Bianca's twisted fantasy was cut short. Arthur shoved her to the ground, his voice a low, dangerous growl. Get out. The man who had once desired her so fiercely in bed now looked at her with pure disgust. Say another word and I'll rip your tongue out. Elara loves me. How could she play with my feelings? She must have gone out for some reason, that's why she's late. It must be, it must be. Arthur stumbled to his feet, his white suit smeared with dirt, but he seemed oblivious. He kept dialing my number over and over. That phone card, however, had been snapped in half and tossed into a trash bin the night before. His calls, of course, would never go through. The wedding turned into a public spectacle, a disastrous farce. Guests scattered, desperately searching for the vanished bride. Countless reporters waited outside the venue, eager to capture the first exclusive footage for viral marketing. Instead, they found a scene of utter chaos. That day's news headlines screamed, #Beaumont heirs fiancé flees wedding #. Seeing the headline, Arthur exploded, smashing his phone. Make them delete it, he roared. What fled the wedding? What nonsense are these tabloids writing? If they can't write proper news, they shouldn't write at all. Arthur's assistant made a single phone call, and by the end of the day, many people were jobless. Arthur's assistants and so-called friends groaned in despair. Elara, where did you go? If you've disappeared, Arthur will go mad, and we'll all be miserable. Arthur spent the day in a state of utter desolation. He bombarded my phone with messages, hundreds accumulating by nightfall. Elara, tell me where you are, please. I'll come get you, okay? Don't scare me. Have you encountered some danger? I'll find you. He searched every conceivable place, including Ethan's grave, but came up empty-handed. Elara, do you not want to marry me? The thought flickered in his mind, only to be violently dismissed. No, Elara isn't like that. Since she accepted my assets, she'll definitely marry me. He finally found a reason to convince himself. But the next second, Mrs. Davies rushed over, holding a beautifully wrapped gift box. Mr. Beaumont, Miss Elara asked me to give this to you yesterday. Arthur's eyes widened in sudden hope, as if life had been breathed back into him. I knew it. I knew it. This box must contain the surprise Elara prepared for me, with all her heart. Let me open it. The moment the box was opened, Arthur's expression froze. The joy drained from his face, replaced by utter disbelief. At the very top lay 3 bold words, breakup letter. Beside it, a phone, and beneath that, the untouched deeds to the billions in Beaumont Group assets and properties. No, impossible, he cried, shaking his head frantically. Mrs. Davies, are you lying to me? This can't be from Elara. Someone must have switched it. Elara and I have been together for 3 years. We were going to get married. She said she'd be with me for life. How could she break up with me? Mrs. Davies shook her head, wiping a tear. Mr. Beaumont, Miss Elara truly asked me to give this to you. Please open it and see for yourself. Arthur's hands trembled as he picked up the breakup letter. It contained only a few concise lines. Arthur, let's end this. I've grown weary of deception, and I'm weary of you. I'm leaving. Don't look for me. Also, I wish you and Bianca a happy marriage and a long life together. We will never meet again. After reading it, Arthur began to tremble violently. He shook his head in denial. No, this is impossible. How could Elara write this? Elara clearly loves me. She loves me. But then his eyes turned bloodshot. Every day I practiced calligraphy. He was there by my side. He knew my handwriting better than anyone. Mrs. Davies sighed. Mr. Beaumont, Miss Elara didn't take that phone either. I suppose it's for you. Arthur snapped back to reality, his trembling hand reaching for the phone. It had no password. The moment he opened it, the chat interface with Bianca appeared. Bianca's messages made Arthur's eyes widen in horror, then blaze with fury. He clearly saw Bianca's words one by one. Did you hear that, Elara? He always tells you he's going to work late at the company, dealing with emergencies. But he's always coming to me. Don't think for a second that just because you're Arthur Beaumont's fiancé, he actually loves you. He just wants to take everything his brother had, including you. You just heard him, he lies so easily. Are you really going to marry a man like that? If you know what's good for you, I advise you to run away from the wedding. A man like Arthur, I've slept with him countless times, he's dirty. Do you still want to marry him? You must be truly shameless. By the end, Arthur's veins pulsed on his forehead. Bianca, he roared. So this was all you're doing? That same day, Arthur hired a dozen men to abduct Bianca and bring her to the villa. Bianca, unaware, thought Arthur was simply feeling down after the runaway bride incident and wanted her to alleviate his loneliness. She even imagined he was into some kinky bondage games. She smiled seductively. Arthur, you're so naughty. Your fiancé just ran away, and you're already desperate for. Why are you hitting me? Arthur sneered, slapping her across the face. But this was only the beginning. Hitting you is the least of it. I want to choke you to death. With that, Arthur, his face contorted in a grotesque mask of rage, lunged at her, his hands clamped around Bianca's throat. You wretched slut. I warned you, what happens between us was never to reach Elara. You did this on purpose, didn't you? The man's hands squeezed with all his might. Within moments, Bianca's face turned mottled purple. She struggled desperately, pounding on Arthur's hands, but she couldn't budge him an inch. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do anything. Arthur sneered again, throwing the phone at her face. You're so clever, aren't you? Deliberately sending our call recordings to Elara, then making a video provoking her. All to force her to run away from the wedding. I never realized you were so cunning. Bianca, thrown to the floor, gasped for air. She stared in horror at the phone on the ground, finally realizing the extent of her betrayal. A flicker of guilt crossed her eyes. No, it wasn't me. I told you countless times, Elara is my life. Arthur's voice was a chilling whisper. By driving her away, you were trying to kill me. Seeing the cold fury emanating from Arthur, Bianca finally understood the gravity of her mistake. Arthur, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. She whimpered. I only sent those to annoy Elara. I never expected her to actually run away. It has nothing to do with me. Arthur ignored her, toying with the fruit knife. Didn't you say I'd slept with you many times and was dirty? His eyes were like ice. Daggers. Then I'll show you what dirty truly means. The coldness in his gaze pierced through Bianca, and she knew she was utterly doomed. Strip this bitch naked, Arthur commanded coldly. He then personally used the fruit knife to carve the word dirty onto Bianca's thigh, then slashed her face. Bianca screamed, tears and blood mixing as they streamed down her ruined face. Arthur, you're not human. How could you do this to me, you animal? You'll be damned. Arthur, I'm sorry, please spare me. For the sake of what we had, please show some mercy. Arthur sneered. His eyes filled with even deeper malice. What does it matter if we had something? You're just a plaything. Did you really think you were worthy of me? You're not even worth a single one of Elara's fingers. When I get ruthless, I even kill my own brother, let alone you. It was said that day, Bianca was left in an abandoned warehouse. By the time the police found her, over 2 weeks later, she was severely beaten, covered in wounds and babbling incoherently, her mind shattered. I had been living abroad for over a month. Although many things were unfamiliar, my mother was by my side, and she had even arranged a relaxing job for me, managing a small restaurant. When I left Arthur's villa, I took only a change of clothes and a photograph of Ethan. At the restaurant, I often kept Ethan's photo on the counter, where I could see him at a glance. It was as if he had never left, always by my side. A few days later, my mother received an unfamiliar call. Someone was asking for me. I shook my head, already guessing it was likely related to Arthur. Even with a new phone, I often caught glimpses of news from home. Arthur was reportedly spending hundreds of millions trying to find me, yet he remained fruitless. Each time I'd scroll past quickly. Whatever elaborate facade of devotion he built was his concern, not mine. 3 months passed. Over dinner, my mother mentioned, "My friends back home say there's news about Ethan's death." My chopsticks clattered to the floor. "What did you say?" My mother looked at me, her expression pained, but she spoke the truth. "They say the person responsible for the car accident has been caught." She reached across the table, taking my hand. "Elara, though many years have passed, I truly hope you can look forward. But I see you clutching Ethan's photo every day. Even if you don't say it, I know you haven't truly let go. Elara, please go back home. Just to say a final goodbye to the past." After 2 days of agonizing deliberation, I booked a flight back. Ethan's death had always been a deep wound in my heart. We had been ready to get engaged, our wedding dress designed and ordered together. Because I loved the ocean, Ethan had bought a beautiful seafront villa just for us. We had such a bright future ahead. But then that accident. Ethan died. And I lost everything. From then on, I clung to the memories of Ethan and to Arthur's face so identical to his, telling myself that Ethan was still with me. Now that the culprit had been caught, I had to go back for Ethan's sake. But I never could have imagined. Upon my return, I discovered that the person responsible for the accident was Arthur himself. He was wearing a prison uniform, sitting across from me behind a barrier. When he saw me, there was no sadness in his eyes, but rather a profound, almost expected sense of loss. "Elara, I knew you'd come." He chuckled, a self-mocking, desolate sound. "I should have known. You don't love me. You always loved my brother." He looked at me, his eyes full of a strange, twisted tenderness. "Even if Ethan is dead, even after 3 years together, you still love him, you still care about him." I stared at him, incredulous, then finally managed to articulate a trembling question. "Why?" Arthur gazed at me, his voice soft, almost yearning. "Elara, do you know? In these past few months since you disappeared, I searched for you for so long. I told you you are my life. If you're gone, I can't live either." He paused, a ghost of a smile on his lips. "You must be curious about that car accident, aren't you? My brother was such a good driver. How could he possibly have crashed?" His eyes glittered with a dark, triumphant glint. "Because he knew it was me who arranged for someone to hit him. That car accident, I planned it deliberately. He knew the truth even as he was dying, but he didn't expose me." His voice grew softer, laced with a plea. "Elara, my brother. He entrusted you to me with his last breath. Have you forgotten? He sacrificed for us, but why? Why can't you forget him?" I was speechless, utterly stunned. I never would have imagined that the accident was Arthur's doing. And I certainly never thought Ethan had known the truth. "Arthur, you bastard. You're an animal." My emotions surged. I wanted a knife to stab him to avenge Ethan. But Arthur only smiled softly, letting me hit and curse him. His eyes remained fixed on me, still filled with that possessive, dark affection. "Elara, I don't blame you for hating me. You don't understand that feeling. I always loved you, but why were you my brother's girlfriend? I loved you, too, even more than he did. Everything he could give you, I could give you too. Even our faces are identical. I don't understand why you still can't forget him, why you can't love me." His raw, desperate question brought tears to my eyes. I sneered, backing away step by step, desperate to escape this deranged man. "Arthur, because Ethan would never be like you. He was kind, he was loyal, he wouldn't lie to me. He would forgive you, you monster, but I won't." Arthur laughed, then a broken, tear-filled sound. Elara, you're lying to me. You fell in love with me too, didn't you? Otherwise, you wouldn't have been so angry about Bianca and me, so angry that you wanted to run away. He pleaded, his voice cracking. Elara, I never loved her. She and I were just for thrill. I only saw her as a plaything. I loved you, I respected you, I protected you. That's why when I had desires, I'd vent them on others, unable to bring myself to touch you. I wanted you to know no one compares to you. He looked at me, his eyes wide with a fragile hope, like a child who had never known sweetness. Elara, I'm not afraid to die, but before I do, I just want to hear you say one thing. You love me, okay? I scoffed, spitting out the cruelest words I could find. In your dreams. Arthur, I will only ever love Ethan. I have never loved you, you murderer. I wish you would die right now. With that, I turned and walked out of the prison, never looking back. Arthur was sentenced to death. On the day of his execution, I watched from a distance. He looked up, a faint smile on his lips, and mouthed two words. Elara, I love you. Then with a fierce whisper. With my life. Watching Ethan's identical face die a second time before my eyes, I closed my eyes in despair, tears streaming down my face. The truth was I had lied to Arthur. In those 3 years we were together, I didn't see him as a substitute. I had loved him. He was different from Ethan. He was pure in his devotion and he loved me fiercely, like a desperate child guarding a hard-won piece of candy. But then he didn't protect it properly. He let his desires and craving for thrill consume him. And in the end he lost the candy. After both Beaumont brothers were gone, the family line ended. I bought Arthur a grave right next to Ethan's. Ethan, I whispered, my voice thick with emotion. From now on, I will forget you. My gaze shifted to Arthur's grave. And both of you. I will start a new life. Leaving the cemetery, I was about to book a ticket home when I received a call from the police. They had Arthur's last will and testament. It stated that Elara was the sole heir to the Beaumont Group's vast fortune. The letter accompanying it read, I'm sorry, Elara. I know you will never forgive me, but I still hope that in another life, my brother and I can meet you at the same time. And in that life I hope you will glance at me just once more. In that life I promise I will truly, truly protect you. I will cherish the love you give me, and I will never hurt you again. The end.